Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Quasar Markets Live. Happy Friday for everybody. I am joined, luckily, this morning, like always, by my main man, Big Beat, Stephen Orr, our CEO and founder. How we doing this morning, Steve?
I mean, not as good as you, Howard, because it is your birthday. Happy birthday, Howard Greenberg.
Thank you very much, buddy. Thank you very much. It is. I'm getting old, that's for sure.
Well, last night on the close, we saw where, and I have been complaining about it for a long time now, Howard, about the FTC just trying to crack up everybody. They're literally, it seems like almost more than half of the S&P 500 is under investigation for monopolizing the world, and they've stopped most of the mergers. Actually, there are some mergers still going through, but they haven't. It's in the courts. And last night we saw where Capri Holdings, CPRE,
Yeah.
maker of fine handbags and clothing for
CPRI.
women, yeah,
CPRI.
is that I went after the dump there, about 50% dump. I'm in long at 2162 at a half position. So I like
Let me
that.
add that to the sheet here. 2162.
And I
You
don't
know, you
like
got to make
trading in
up.
the
You finally
afternoon.
had that first loss last week, so you got to go back on another run here. You're only 2-0 since the loss. Just so our viewers are up to date. He's 2-0 since the loss, but back on track about 35-1 or so. So not too
35 and
bad.
1 is pretty good. I think that's a pretty
Yeah,
good run.
I'd take that trip. Even my Celtics would like to keep that as a record.
I love it. Yeah, well, I think that one of the things we're seeing is with options and the markets in future, we talked about earlier, the one side or the other, whether it's downside or the upside on news or however, it seems to be overbought or oversold, and it just runs too fast. And I think that you're going to hear the company come out today at some point saying, "Wait a minute, the ruling was fast, so the appeal will be already be in place."
Right.
There'll be a lot of things that you'll see, and I think this is probably an easy win. I bought a half position, but I could add to it today
Okay.
considering I
And
don't
for
normally
those that
buy in
don't
the after
know,
hours.
Capri is basically Michael Kors handbags. And the company that was buying them is Tapestry, which is known, just slipped my head. What's their big.
Kate Spade and
There
those,
it
yeah,
is. Yeah. And again, it gets to really, you're worried about someone quartering the handbag market. And they're
right.
like, it starts to make you wonder,
We're just
again,
gonna
like
we're
you
gonna, we're
said,
gonna
the
make the luxury.
FTC.
We're gonna make the expensive luxury bags cheaper for rich people. I don't
Yeah,
know.
am I gonna get a Birkin now at a discount or something? Is Hermes gonna be part of this? LVMH owns every luxury brand there was at one time, and no one
Right.
had a problem then, and everything seemed to be okay. So, yeah, that one I thought was weird. Good spot to get in there. I do like that. Um, have seen a couple of earnings so far today already come out on deck. Speaking of on deck, Decker Outdoor Corp had a big beat, up about 13.5% here, so running pretty hard. Got to talk about Tesla. Well, we got to talk about the fact we were both wrong yesterday. So, we have been pretty good at gauging where the market was moving. I didn't think Tesla was going to just rip and take everything to the north with it to that point. I mean, I called for 250, which was aggressive. I felt, and 260 they shot up to there yesterday.
Best day they had since 2013.
Yeah, so I will say that I did not figure that in to my equation there yesterday when I was making that estimate. They've given back about a point and a half here in the morning. What I've sort of been interested in already, though, Steve, is some of the big winners yesterday, again, based on earnings. Moline Healthcare, that was up 17.67,
Yeah.
up almost a point again here in pre-market trading. West Pharmaceutical, same thing, was up 15.43 yesterday, up about a point and a half today. And then Celestica up over 10% yesterday, up 1.05. So interesting to see if we can get some carry through on this, because that hasn't been the case. We've normally seen that mean reversion just kick off the next day, right? So I'll be interested to see if we get any follow through on those today. Who are you looking at today? Anything outside of Capri that you're looking at this morning?
I mean, look at Save again. Look at Spirit Airlines. They
I
are
have
up
that here in the watch list for us.
They did something very interesting yesterday. They are selling off some of their planes to pay for their debt. Roughly, the first 10 were sold. They're looking to sell up to 25 of those planes, maybe cut back some of their routes and get back to profitability. That would be good. I understand they're laying off some people too as well. That's good too as well. But
I'll tell you
again,
what,
that
that's a
was
pretty juicy chart on the hourly here. I'm going to bring it up on my screen. You can see it got rejected second time here at this 320 level. So this could be an interesting one. Let's see what it does on open, but it could be an undercut and rally, or it could be a spot for a fade here. But, save definitely interested here on that hourly chart.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the news on this, and you saw all the shorts that got crushed yesterday and again
Yeah.
today. Um, this is a stock that could easily be bought out again. There could be a different type of merger acquisition here, and we're looking at Frontier Airlines already. Frontier looking to merge into
Yep.
them. What have I been talking about for the last month with rates coming down?
You'd
Now
see
they're
more
pushing back.
mergers and acquisitions. That's what you've been telling us, and we're seeing it, and show out here in the headlines day after day now, for sure.
Goldman Sachs, David Sullivan, CEO, said that, look, we're going to get back to profitability or more profitability and getting back to our basics of our company, and that's mergers and acquisitions. So it looks like that's what we're going to be seeing for the next 3-4 months, I think.
Yep, absolutely. Mergers, acquisitions, definitely in the headlines. We've seen it all over the place in all kinds of different areas of industry too. It's not just in one area. We've seen it in the, oil and gas industry. We've seen it, across now consumer durables, retail, all over the place. Western Digital, I had just gotten one of their hard drives, excuse me. I see that they had their earnings here up about 12.14% here with
Yeah.
Western Digital. So again, they topped analyst expectations. Again, cloud sales rose 15.3% from a year earlier. Their CEO said that the continued proliferation of AI data cycle, their flash and hard disk drive product portfolios are well positioned to capitalize on significant opportunities as adoption continues to grow. That is David Gockler. And the stock has jumped, like I said, 12%. I mean, like I said, I just bought one. You need it. You need, for cloud, this is the business you're in. Data centers are just immense, the amount of increased in hard drives and these capabilities that you need. And then, we've seen it at here, Quasar Markets Live, for the ability to do videos and stuff. You've got to have it. So everything that you see, everything, digitization of
Right.
everything, videos and all that stuff, more and more data. They're them and Seagate to me are the two leaders in that area. So not surprised here by that at all.
Yeah, and it's only going to get worse. You need speed in order for AI to work, and that's an NVIDIA. And you need the hardware, which is IBM and Western Dig and Seagate Technology, STX. These things are definitely needed. But I'm looking for more technology. Where is the new tech? And I feel like Western Dig, in a lot of ways, has old tech and old hardware. That they're not pushing the envelope when it comes to how we store things. I know we have solid state drives now, SSDs. We've had them for a while now. They're faster than the SATA SATAs hard drives, but you're looking at a need for a better way of doing this, including cooling factors, right? Because computers are getting hotter and hotter and more electricity all the way around. And because of that, it's going to be more expensive. And to be honest with you, Howard, I don't see this slowing down, especially cloud.
No, there's no. It definitely doesn't slow down. Um, I would play the other side. I think Western Digital's technology is pretty good. They are one of the ones that have, when it comes to Bitcoin mining companies, they provide some of the power supplies and things like that. They're pretty good there. So we'll see. I mean, I think you'll see. I don't know what the next level of solid state drives are. Can they, they haven't been able to scale up in size to a
Right.
to a real point where it is, and a lot of that has been the cost analysis.
That's right.
Again, it's all about how many megabytes or now how many tetrabytes can I store for X amount of dollars. And right now the technology is still in like you said, the SATA space. When it comes to that, we'll see as that does evolve there. And they've tried other things, as laser discs and so forth, that didn't work
Yeah.
out very well. It's a tough business. It's a tough one because when you're storing data, you've got to make sure that it actually, that it works in the right way. So that will be interesting. Another stock really moving up, CNC, Centene Corporation,
Mhm.
another managed healthcare company. Wasn't that very familiar with them, based in your hometown there, St. Louis. They posted income of 713 million or $1.36 a share, up from 469 million and 87 cents a share a year earlier. So real nice move there, and they did have a beat on both of those. So
Yeah, Centene is managed healthcare. They're huge in the Midwest, and I've had the pleasure of dropping by their offices a few times as I was growing up. Look, healthcare is not just owned by United Healthcare. It's not, not Blue Cross Blue Shield everywhere. There are places that have managed healthcare, and
yep,
that's one of them. And they're offering a little bit cheaper as insurance has gone up a bit too with managed healthcare, that these places are probably going to do very, very well. People trying to find healthcare brokers are going to be a big thing in the future, right? Where you're looking for better healthcare and costs, and just like you do for a broker for your insurance for your home, right? You probably need one now for your healthcare. Normally you just go to
sure.
whatever company you have, but now people really want managed healthcare, and they want it a lot cheaper than what it is right now.
And what you're seeing is that that's also driving this up, as we've seen most of the other healthcare companies saying they're going to get hit hard by the changes to Medicaid. Here they're saying that they're only expecting, or the revenue only fell 1%, but that was more than made up by their non-Medicaid users that were up 6%. So I think that's a bigger takeaway too. If you're looking at healthcare, you might want to look for companies like this that aren't as reliant on that Medicaid membership.
I'm just now looking over at CNBC. They're now talking about Capri Holdings and Tapestry right now, and it's right now being talked about on CNBC. My boy David Faber is talking about it, and it looks like they're talking about some that the fight back from Capri Holdings could be pretty solid here, with meaning that the judge might have been a rush to judgment, and then the government did not present any facts in the case of how it would slow down. Um, so
Yeah, like I
monopolize.
said, this one just seemed really fishy the way it was so quick, and yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I
and
just
I like this. I like you know what, and this also gives Capri Holdings an opportunity to buy back their stock. If I were them, I would say, hey, you know what? Thank you for the cheap stock price, and because somebody's going to buy them out. I mean, they know they're on the chopping block. They know, so somebody's going to buy those handbags. So who does it, right? Look, the market cap is only 4.9 billion. That's been chopped in half, so probably around $2.5 billion here could easily buy out one of the largest manufacturers of handbags and luxury good items for women. Um, think about any company like that can go out and do that, right? Maybe
yeah,
if I was Nordstrom, I'd say, you know what? Instead of me buying back my stock, I might buy you guys, and then you have your own handbags to sell. You don't have to worry about the company anymore. You don't. There's no middleman anymore. So, there's
yep.
there's some good opportunities here.
Absolutely. Next
Good.
this morning, we need to talk a little bit about the shares of Colgate Palmolive. They've been taking a
Okay.
little bit of a hit, down about 3.25% here. That is the toothpaste and toothbrush giant, of course. Their third quarter earning expectations were a beat, but they gave a little bit of a weakness in their forward looking guidance. So we're seeing them down about 3.25% right now. I will mention Tapestry is up about 13.36% since that news in the pre-market hours. Why do you think that is?
Tapestry.
Yeah.
Because the deal didn't go through, right? They would have had to spend money or sell shares or raise cash in order to buy Capri Holdings. So with the deal done, they get all that money back, and that pushes their stock back up. Think about it though. I mean, if Tapestry's up 13%, why is Capri down 47%?
That's
So
yeah.
it
That's what
doesn't
I
make sense,
was. That's sort of
right?
what I was getting to there. Just seems like not a direct correlation between the two. Steve, one of your favorites back from the COVID days has earnings here today. I don't think they've released yet. Let's see. Oh, they did. Valet.
Yeah, Valet is they are a big
Mining.
company, and
Yeah.
when you look at the mining perspective of where they're located, they're going to do very well. LATAM area too as well. I love Valet. You know that I've been.
Yeah.
My goodness, now it looks like Kramer's going off on Capri now.
Oh God. And they had a surprise beat of 26% on their EPS, 56 cents a share versus estimates of 44 cents. Fairly similar on their top line revenue, though. But I know that's one that you always like. Talked about healthcare moving in the right direction previously. On the other side, HCA getting hit pretty hard here after their earnings miss this morning. Grab that information here.
And one of the things about Ballet is what they mine. They mine a lot of stuff, nickel, iron ore, and they do it all near the Amazon as well. By the way,
Yeah.
if you don't know that, for people who don't know that out there, but they really do. They are big down there in LATAM. They produce a lot of iron. So that's
Absolutely. So HCA is down now only about 7.5%. They were down as much as close to 10% this morning after the hospital operator's third quarter earnings fell short of estimates. It booked losses and lost revenue when Hurricane Helene disrupted operations of facilities. That's a Nashville-based company. They had net income of 1.27 billion, about $4.88 a share, which was up from 1.079 billion and 391 a share a year earlier, but they had cut their estimates for about 15 cents off the EPS, as they said a lot of facilities were actually affected. So this was one where the actual buildings themselves have hit some damage. So um,
yeah.
that is what they're looking at there. So been an interesting one here to watch this morning because again, this had been trading near all-time highs. So could be an opportunity on a pullback here if you're looking for a healthcare play. Could be one that interesting because again, you hope once that's a one-time charge off, right, Steve? And sometimes we
That's
get a
right.
little bit of an overreaction to that.
Yeah. And I think one of my rules of trading is the market doesn't sleep, but you should. Um,
Yeah, that's got to change, isn't it?
yes, it is. Very simply put, the market is now saying they want to go 22 hours a day during the weekdays. This is another push to 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. I think, but we go 7 days a week. I think 24/7 is going to start to happen. It'll probably happen the next couple of years, looks like.
And what Steve's talking about is ICE, the parent of the New York Stock Exchange, has announced that they want to extend their weekday trading on its fully electronic NYSE Arca Equities Exchange to 22 hours, up from 16 hours currently. Um, I don't really, crypto change trades 24/7, so I'm sort of used to this. But I do think it's a change for the market for sure. I mean, I'm seeing the amount of people that are trading pre-market right now. That's why you're seeing all these pumpers come. Do you have an opinion? Is this good, bad, or indifferent?
I used to trade a lot in the pre-market because you had to put limit orders in, and it made me a better trader because I was able to see the market a little clearer than the cash market. Over the last few years, I've been trading more in the cash market than I have in the overnight markets. Now, yesterday was different for me. I did buy Capri in the after hours on that big dip, and then when I did that, I felt comfortable because I put a limit order in that was against the market, meaning that I got filled at 21.62. The price of the stock was right around 21.50, so I knew that I was going to get in because I was willing to pay more than what the price was.
Right.
Um, and then it automatically filled me as a limit as a market order. So if you don't know that out there, if you when you put limit orders in and you're not at the exact price, let's say you're going to go long and you put the order in above where the price is, it automatically becomes a market order. When I do that, it's old. I'm sorry,
It's
old
gonna
school for
fill,
me.
right? And so
That's a fill, but it's a when you hit the button and they time stamped it. That timestamp is automatic and it becomes a market order automatically. So, um, you know, if people trade like that, I'm telling you, I'm a professional. So you gotta be very careful when you do those kind of orders, especially the orders the size of ours, that it can clip you, meaning you don't get the best fill.
right,
When you do those orders, a lot of times I also, Howard, on the cash markets, I will put orders in like what they call FOK or fill or kill, because I don't want to get screwed in the markets if I'm going market. So fill or kill and put that order in immediately, meaning that they'll fill the order or they'll just kill the order right there on the floor,
right. Delete it
and
right there.
boom. So I like using FOK orders.
So two things there for our users I want to point out. What Steve is talking about is, liquidity, although now that liquidity is showing up in the pre-market. For years it
Yeah.
wasn't really there. So people that would do a market, order would find a big spread between the bid and the ask. That is closing down on a lot of these now as we see more and more traders. But that's so important to make sure you understand the difference, that you make sure whatever service you're using, whether it be TOS or, whatever company, that you are doing that correctly. And then, as Steve was saying, and especially scalpers are big on that, right? The fill or kill, because they don't want to get hit on the wrong side. So if you're scalping, small increments on, the SPY, or we talked about futures today, on the MNQ or something like that, you don't want it to get filled going the wrong way. If you're looking to get it on the way up, you want to hit it on that way up. If it turns around already, they don't want to be in it anymore. So fill or kill. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I wonder, I wonder if this alleviates some of the issues that we've seen, where there's this 6 o'clock like jump into the market at the pre-market, by making it so at such weird hours that people won't be as apt to get up, because I mean you're gonna have to get up at 1 a.m. to start trading the pre-market hours.
Well,
Or
it's
1:30.
interesting, I roll over in bed at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning watching the China's markets. When I wake up, then I roll back over. I try to keep my eye on the international, the Asian markets for sure. This means I just have to keep my eye open a little bit longer, I guess. Sleep with one eye open, I guess. A little Taka, but I think the world's going this way. International money is now flowing a little heavier into the United States, so yeah, they pretty much need to go round we call round tripper. So I'm okay with it. I remember when Globex came out, floor brokers thought that it was the end of the world, right? And
Yep.
it didn't. It just became part of our normal routine. Today, it's now so I'm okay with it. Let's go. Let's trade round the clock. I'm okay with it.
I did notice we have one other of the S&P 500 that is up over 10% here this morning, and that is Digital Realty Trust, which
Oh,
is a
okay.
REIT.
Yeah.
Another one that was up over 10% here today. That was
One of my
interesting
favorites,
because
by the
they
way.
had an earnings miss here this morning. They only reported 12 cents a share EPS versus 25 cents. But they're up about 9.61%. So forward guidance or something hasn't moving in the right direction. Those were the S&P's biggest moves here this morning.
But
Uh,
one thing about Digital Realty is that they do pay a nice dividend, and they pay it consistently. I think their dividend ratio is 2.95%.
they just raised it,
Last
I guess, to 3.01, it looks like.
Yeah, that makes sense. But it is overly subscribed. I mean, there's a lot of people in this, based on what their holdings are, and their PE ratio is right around 600 plus something. I don't know exactly what the number is. Last I looked, it was like 650 or something like that. Yeah, so a little oversubscribed, and it tells you right there that people are looking for alpha somewhere, right? Somewhere,
Yeah,
they
price
can
to
push
earnings
their.
ratio is 47.46%. 3% dividend. Yeah, that's
Yeah, pretty
EPS
high.
around 3.54.
Yeah.
those were the biggest movers here. There, I was going to take a look here, see what Nasdaq's biggest movers are. Nasdaq, we see a couple of runners already. UPXI here up 221%. Take a look and see what that is here.
There you go, Capri. Come on, baby. 22.15 there.
Yeah, you can see UPEXI moved up nicely. VIX hanging out around 1867 here. Steve, gold 27.27. Did not
Yeah,
hit it.
I mean,
Hasn't hit an all-time high yet today, but looks like it could try.
yeah, well, wow, Capri Holdings is running now a little bit. Yeah, so gold and silver are still there. People are still buying it, and it's just end of the week. There was some profit taking yesterday, but here we go. People are scared on the weekends, and today is the 25th of the month. We're 10 days away. Is that right? 6 and 5, 11 days away from the election. Wow, people are nervous.
Yeah.
Thing I've been hearing quite heavily is the big bond dealers are dumping bonds at the fastest rate in like at least 20 years, which is why you're seeing rates continue to push higher. 4.182 still, that was 4.26 last week, but that means that the bonds markets has to raise rates in order to keep people in their tenure. So 10-year, that means whatever money you have, if you're Warren Buffett, who just dumped another $20 million in $20 billion in stock in BAC. Wow, cash is king right now. You put it in the money market, you're probably going to get 2-3%. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to talk with Steve Flanagan about that today. Treasury's up over 4.2. Is that the new normal? Is going to be what I ask him. Is that what we're looking at now? Is 4.2 on the 10-year? It seems to be where we keep sort of coming back to. So is that going to be what we're looking at? Did y'all see Russia raised its? You want to live in a place that has interest rates? You think your interest rates are bad here? Russia central bank just raised their rates to 21% yesterday, Steve. 21% interest rate there to kind of try to tamper down their inflation. I don't think that works
Well,
though.
don't worry. They'll send more North Koreans in to fight their battles now. Do you see that? So, wow. And North Korea just sent even more troops. So, yeah, it's getting kind of crazy.
Yep, that's for sure. Who else did I have on here to look at this morning? Pull them up. Sam Adams had earnings yesterday. Not much going on there, though. Not too exciting to talk about. They did have a little bit of a miss. They were looking for $5 a share. EPS came in at 286 on a higher than expected revenue. So definitely a miss there by Sam Adams, down about a little over a half a point on the news. Doesn't seem to be scaring people too far away. Capital One, another one that had strong earnings this morning. So the financial sector continuing to do that, up 6% here this morning. And again, they were looking for $3.77 a share. They came in at 451 and had a revenue beat also. So good earnings by Capital One online. Piper Sandler, I didn't see what they came in here today at. They are down about 3.27%, so I'm going to go with a miss here, and it does look that way. They were looking to have 2.67. EPS came in at 257, and just about, well, no, almost down 5% on revenue too. So they had a miss on both sides there.
Did you see this morning where KeyBank downgraded Apple and lowered their price target to $200? Wow, we've been talking about that for a while, Howard. I mean, here we are now,
Yeah,
down.
they went off on the iPhone in general. There it was interesting because when it comes to analyst, things there, it's they're 225. I saw Jeffries came in at 212.92 recently, so they've a little bit of a difference there.
And they're 229 to where 200. That's a little more than about 12, 13% haircut there. And that's what I've been calling for, a pullback in the markets, 10 to 20%. It's what we're saying. I'm thinking we're going to continue to see that. And Apple being the heaviest weighted on the S&P 500 is going to pull that down. I've been saying it, 460 on the Qs is where I think we're going to go back to. So look, everything that I've been talking about, here we go. We're open now, Howard, and there
Here we
is
go.
some.
Tick starting down up a little bit here. So good start to the
There
tick.
you go, Capri. Come on, Capri. 2250 now. So I had a feeling that there were some buyers going to step in on that Capri. That was kind of a 2260 now on Capri. Pushing a little higher, 2250 now, 2250. Yeah, there we go. Come on, Capri. 2270 now on Capri. I had a pretty good feeling that was going to happen this morning here. Nasdaq is trying to push here. Cocoa prices, how about that? Okay, look at this. Bitcoin 68,000, 28,258 now. Capri 20. We're gonna see. I think we're gonna see some buyers stepping in Capri. The
Looks like they're
oversold.
trying. Looks like they're trying here. Still looks pretty
Disney back to
good.
$96 a share here.
Save
Save
the
SAV.
320 here. $3.20. I was just about to yell the same thing.
Yeah,
Getting hit right at it. But that 320 we talked about, that's the number on the line. I mean, you can see it across the hourly chart and even the 3-minute chart here. That 320 got to be a huge sell wall there someone's got up, because every time it hits it, it just gets eaten.
20 looks like
Look
23
at that,
about
down
to
to
hit.
$3 here almost. 306 on that knockdown.
$23 now on Capri here. I am pretty much going to be taking some off here. $23 now on Capri. If it breaks 23 here, we'll probably just go right on up. And I just took my profit here, 22.99 looks like.
Nice.
So, yeah. Yeah, and there's a little bit of a slippage there. I think it might go on a little higher, but I
Yeah, I mean, if it
definitely.
breaks that, like you said, that 23 here, does have quick room up to 25.01, but it's going to have to break through that right here.
22.95 and a half is where I got out at on that
Nice.
market order there. So I'm feeling pretty good from 21.62 yesterday.
Yeah. Nice trade, Steve. Save back at that $3, man. It got rejected hard off that 320. Look at that.
There's a lot of people there that are selling at $3, so understandable.
The 320. 320 it got up to back to 3 here. 320 back to 3. Deck up still 10% here. CNC still up 11. So some of the early winners still getting some love here. Tesla just went positive, 260. Don't fade the Musk yet. Don't fade them. I was wondering what's going to happen here off bat. 260 is where it seems to be battling right now. It is trying. See what else is moving here. Let's get to my...
We're making another run here to Capri CPRI now at 22.99 again, 23. If it breaks it there, it is 23.15. It broke through. So, oh well. But it was a nice run there.
Yeah.
You got to find some more runners for us, Howard, out there.
Yeah, I don't see anything so far. That's what I'm looking at here. Nothing's too exciting so far.
23.25 on Capri. Wow. Yeah, Capri was definitely oversold on that. It's worth more now than the companies now. Yeah, the market cap has dropped to $2.72 billion. Heavy volume still there on Capri.
Yeah.
The VIX is dropping right here pretty heavily, 4.18%, and the dollar now firmly at the 104 handle here.
Looks like we might have a run here. Looks interesting. ELAB, ELAB, up 77%. Battling, just lost VWAP here. We see this bounce off this bottom of this bull flag here, move its way back up. Could be one in play to cross back through the VWAP. I want to see it get something down by this consolidation here near 14 cents. Let's see what it does.
There it goes to pre-slipping a bit here.
INHD could be
ASML back
coming
and
off a hold here, Steve. INHD. Oh, this is interesting. You can see it pumped at the 4 o'clock level. Tried to pump, got stopped. This is one that's going to probably run here pretty good. INHD 439. It's got room back up to
ATNF
549. This is one to watch here coming off of the halt.
180 Life Sciences, ATNF, Alpha Tango and Neutral Freddy, 31.44% up. ATNF halted here on back of 4.6 million shares.
Yeah, that should already be reopening right now. It was a little too, I didn't see it early enough to get that one. I'm looking at this one, trying to get in on INHD here.
ATNF is now open, now slipping a bit.
Holdings here. 439. This could be a play here. Let's see what it does. I've got my limit order ready here.
We're seeing a little slippage here. The tick slipping a bit.
Let's see what
Save
we
back
get
to
here.
312.
Save's going to try. It's that 320. It's got to get across. 320. See, an LIN key just got stopped also there. LINK. I'm going to
I will
keep it
say,
on the
looking at it,
screen for a second.
IBM has bounced off that bottom there now. Might have found some
Support.
support. Yeah.
Let's see, we should be coming off of the stop here. Right at 440.
WTI now.
This MACD on the bottom wants to cross over too. This looks pretty good. I'm going in on this. Let's see what happens. 440. Try to get it at 425 on someone who goes the wrong way to start off. Let's see what we get here. I did put that order in.
And Boeing is holding here, 156, up 0.5% here. Apple is now turned green here.
Tesla now up over 1% here, 263, continuing to move up. So market definitely has some legs here. Wants to try to give it a run here. 0DTE is probably moving a lot of this.
Yeah, tick down to 60 now. We're slipping a bit here. I had a feeling that was about to happen. The markets can't hold very well here.
Tesla now 263, 83, trying to balance 264. Man, Tesla running.
Palantir, PLTR, up another 1.3% today.
Intel's up about a little over a point today. Mattel bouncing back today, up 2.64%. American Airlines still getting some love here, up another 0.5 point this morning. Harley Davidson after earnings yesterday, moving up here 3% here today. MSTR back at 232. had been as high as almost 240 here earlier. VIX staying pretty even. Tick still negative about 126 right now. SPY up a half a point. QQQ trying to go up a full point here. The Russell at up about a half a point. Bitcoin back below 68 here, so Bitcoin unable to break through that 68 and hold. Gold down a little bit during the cash money hours here. WTI almost at 72 here, Steve. Have you noticed any more buying on the SPR there?
No, not really. There's not been a call out yet on the SPR, so we'll see.
We'll say Chinese names getting a little love today. Alibaba up 1.37%. Baidu up 3.1 right now. Take a look. JD up 1.37 and Neo up 1.31. So most of them are moving in the upward direction. Even PDD, which we know has gotten beat up pretty hard, Temu's parent company, still up 0.3% here. As Steve was mentioning, Palantir up 1.74% this morning. Qualcomm up 1.46. Take a look at that one.
Nvidia now 148 now here.
Qualcomm's interesting for one if it can break the 200.
2250 now back
average
here. If we get Capri slip back down a little bit, could be bought back a little bit.
There you go.
Tick down about 230, 240.
In retail, getting a little love today. Nordstrom's up 1.2%. Kohl's up about 1.2. So seeing a little love there. Nike up a quarter of a point. O Realty down half a point today, so getting hit a little bit there. SMCI up to 47.34, Steve, up 2.37% today.
Humana
on hold 264.
Yeah, I don't see Tesla any higher than we are right now. I think they're way overvalued right now. And you keep hearing on Tesla that it's a software company. It's a software company. No, it's not. It's a car company because that's what everybody's looking at, the number of cars they sold. Yeah. Yeah, Nasdaq now on the highs of the day here.
Well, that didn't last long. INHD got stopped again on me. I got from 440 to 467 here, and it already stopped again.
Interlink LINK here is now halted.
Yeah,
LINK up 48% here.
That's in a range that it still has some good movement that you could probably look at here. LINK. Oof, that's a runaway.
On 78,000 volume, so not a lot of volume there. So be careful there.
Yeah, no, I'm already in mine. I'll watch it coming off the open. If I get another gap up in mine, I'll be out because I got in, as you guys heard, 425, now at 468.
Top Wealth Group, TWG, down 54% here and halted here at 621 on the back of a little less than a million shares. Average volume there is 6.46 million. So they're not even hitting the average volume yet. So I wouldn't be touching that one at all.
Yeah, no, you got to see. I will say that INHD, I just put in a stop loss protection at 440, which would still give me a pretty good move up from that 425. 462, here it is, reopened 434. There you go. I'm out.
Tesla now up 2% here, 2.2% now.
So that wasn't that great. 425 to 440, it's still a win. I'll take a win. For me in a cash account, though, that holds up a decent amount of money for the rest of the day. But hey, a win's a win, right, Steve?
That's right. Take that money and run like the wind and go spend it.
Absolutely.
You need to
Yeah.
spend
You know what I look at today? What's DJT doing here? Up another 4%, 36,644. That's about where it's been topping off at here. This could be an interesting one to look for. Could see a fade from this spot or a breakaway. Let's take a look at this. Minute doesn't
Save
show.
SAVE now up 33% here.
That's amazing. Yeah, DJT is trying to break through here. If it breaks above this 36.90, it's going to run today. Here it goes, Steve. DJT trying to run here. There it goes. 36.94, 36.96, 37.08. That was easy to see. Come on, let's see what it does. 37.17, 37.01. But you can see once it broke through the green, what was resistance now turns into support. Hopefully here. See what
I'm going
happens.
to do the opposite here. I think
In
that
DJT,
I'm going to short it.
it is struggling. You can see it's got nice room right back down to that 33 level. That's a tough one. That's a meme. You know, at this point, that's a meme stock. On a day like today, that
I'm
could
hearing there
run.
are no shares to short right now. I need some locates here.
That's and you're still going to go in if there's no shares to short. It means doesn't that usually mean a squeeze on the way?
Yeah, pretty much.
So I'd be looking at that a little bit the other way.
Yeah, I gotta get the locates. Yeah, there it is, 36.80. I had a feeling 79, 36.77. Yeah.
And at 36.90, it's not going yet. $36.87. Here you go, Steve. It's got to get down. Gets below 37. Let me get this one up on the short-term chart here. Let's see what we got.
36.76.
Yeah, it could reverse right here.
72. Yeah,
What are
I
you going
think
to target here? About 36, 35? Or are you looking for a bigger drop towards the
not
VWAP
in. I'm not.
base?
I'm not. I didn't get the locates, so I'm not
Oh,
in.
okay. Oh, that's what you said. There was nothing to short. I got to put two and two together sometimes, Steve. I still come up with six. Did you see Nvidia has now offset all of the 128 of the S&P's 500s that have declined this year twice over? Did you see Waymo passed 25 million cars, Steve? Did you see that? And they just
I did.
closed a
I did. That's
5.6
Google.
billion funding round. Here goes Trump again. Here it goes. 37.03, 37.08. Does it break the high of the day? 37.14. There it goes. That might have been a good one not to get in on.
Yep. Humana is up 2.6% here.
It's a good
Tesla's
move
up.
back up. Again, that was one that you said. No reason for it to be down as far as it was.
CrowdStrike's up 1.7%. Disney's almost back to $97 a share there.
37.35 on DJT here. That was a pretty good breakout. Still going.
Nasdaq on the highs of the day now. Boeing back to 157 again.
Nice. Yeah, Nasdaq up 1.2. Tick still positive 217. TWG, another one getting halted here. That one's gotten halted a lot.
37.39 now on the highs of the 41 now on the highs of the day now. DJT 37.45, 46, 48, 49.
I lucked out with that stop on INHD. Gave me that time to get that stop loss in because it's now back at 413.
37.62 now on DJT. 74, still
I
pushing.
told you that you could see it was going to blast right as soon as it broke that resistance that it hit 3 times. You know, it's on to the
37.85,
races. 37.85.
94,
You heard me call that one out, everybody.
38.15.
38.
Kaboom.
Man, you are. It's lucky you didn't have any shares to short there, Steve. You owe the good folks at IKBR a thank you.
Well, you back off, right? When you see those kind of
Yeah, absolutely. Because
you know what?
that's
There's
why I
no
asked you
shares
that
to short.
question when you saw. Yeah, if it's hard to get the shares, that was my question. Doesn't that mean it's prime for a short squeeze?
That's
You saw it
right.
now.
Yeah.
It's pulling back hard though, right here. But again, when we say that, we were talking at this at 36. It's still at 37.81. Microsoft
I
up 1.76. Nice move up here this morning. Trying to get a runner here. Look at that Microsoft running here.
IBM is really was I liked that play this morning. I just didn't make it that on that dip. McDonald's 298.08. It's still selling off. You're down another 1% today.
Yeah, I don't see a bottom there yet. They still under pressure from everybody. Still the things. Walmart down about a half point here. This one could be interesting here for a play up right now, Steve. Short a little scalp here. Can see just hit a double bottom where it hit at 933. Comes up here.
Nasdaq's up 230 points here.
See if anything else is moving here. Fun getting. So this is if you like DJT, Fun usually runs about the same time as DJT. Don't ask me why. It is loosely connected to media, advertising, TikTok, and stuff like that. And it just runs when DJT does for some reason. This could get interesting here. I like it for a pullback personally. Do like that for a pullback here. Fun PHUN 985 here. I like it for a pullback towards $9. I see Ron's here asking, oh, you were asking what Steve was thinking what shorting was DJT, Ron, DJT. Luckily, he didn't. It went the other way. And he was asking if we saw anything about an AI spinoff from Tesla. I did not see that. You're asking if XAI is the tech company everyone refers to when they talk about Tesla. I don't know that. Steve, do you know that answer? XAI?
What was the question again?
Ron was asking, XAI, is it related to or a part of Tesla?
That's a good question. I don't think so. No.
So I'm trying to see if I can find any information there. Not seeing.
I guess they are working on Grok too. Looks like, huh?
That's Twitter's. Yeah, so maybe that is it. Maybe it sounds like Ron. If they're working on Grok, then it's part of X. So maybe
I don't
it's.
use Grok. I don't think it's very good.
I haven't
And
tried
I'm
it.
an
I
AI
haven't tried. I
guy.
have a premium membership, but I haven't. I have not tried it.
Yeah, I have the same, and I don't. It's terrible. I don't
Look
use
at
it.
that fun, man. Here it goes. What did I say? Looked like to
Tesla's up
move back.
almost 3% now, still pushing higher here.
There you go. It's breaking below VWAP. This goes below. Got a little support here. If this falls below VWAP, it's going to go all the way back down here. Man, that was easy to spot too. Oh, it's private right now. Okay, Ron, didn't realize. I'm not sure if that's one that it sounds like the fact that it is working on Tesla on X's stuff that it probably has some Elon money in it. If I had to guess, not sure if it's Tesla was an early investor or not.
Two 268.16 now in Tesla.
That's crazy. I thought I was being aggressive when I said 250 yesterday. I wasn't even in the ballpark.
CRM Salesforce up 2% here.
Yeah.
AMD's up almost 3%.
Qualcomm
Chipsets are doing well today.
2.21. Look, big day today. Big day. Neo up 3%. MSTR now up 241. I had given that mark 250, remember, on Jeremy's show last week as the target 250, 241.50 here. We started talking about this when it broke through that 190, when it's getting ready to break that 199 for a run to 250. Looks like we're going to hit that right on the head there.
Nvidia back to 143 here. Look at that, up 2%.
IBM's pulled back a little, Steve. I know you said you were upset you missed that. You might get another chance here.
I'm looking, I'm watching it. My eyes are on it, 2247.
Mattel bouncing back pretty well today. They're one of the companies that could get affected the most from the Trump tariffs if he is to win. Hasbro, Mattel, a lot of those companies, almost all their stuff comes out of China. Do you see West Pharmaceuticals now pulling back down almost 4% here today? That had jumped up tremendously yesterday on its earnings. You can see it's looks like it's now going to refill that gap to the downside here. Usually you see this fallout. There's
22,
another one that's
26.
got some decent downside here for anybody looking for a short. Could take a look at this WST here. In my opinion, breaks
Bitcoin,
below
68.3.
315.50 or so. You've got decent downside towards 300 there. So about 5%, 7% downside there, WST. Again, gapped up tremendously yesterday. Do you see Love Southwest up another 1.27% here today? Intel on fire, 2.64%. I haven't had a day like that in a while. Tesla still rolling. 269 it just blasted through, Steve.
I'm literally pulling it up right now to short it.
I love it. I love it. I'll tell you what I'm going to start to look at here. Another one that I called out correctly on Jeremy's show on Tuesday, or was I on Thursday? I was on Thursday yesterday. Was Mara. Look for it to short it off of that 1916 level. Now it's 1747 here. I gave you a target of about 1650. So again, Mara, the two call outs yesterday, MSTR run
260.
towards 250. Mara to pull back, both looking
Okay.
real good so far.
I'm short 269. I'm sorry. Yeah, 269.02 here. I'm gonna cover on my Tesla. Yeah.
He's fading the Musk. I tell him not to do these things. You know I'm just teasing you.
Yeah, I don't get money's money for me, brother.
That's right. Yeah, I got burnt hard. All it took was one real bad one for me to be to have enough there. We're gonna bring in our main man, Stephen Flanagan, here in 1 second. Talk a little bit about
Oh,
although Yankees,
268.45.
he's wearing a Yankee shirt. I'm not bringing him on, Steve. You didn't tell me this. He's a Yankee
268.30.
fan.
I'm watching Tesla here. 268.30 is where I got it. Boom. How about that? Did it
There you
again.
go. I'm sorry, my mind was all about this guy that's got a Yankees jersey on our shirt.
267.75. Did it on the air again. 36 and 1 now, 37 and 1 now.
There you go.
You got the touch.
Okay.
You got the touch.
And here he is, Stephen Flanagan. Fresh
And I gotta
haircut,
run,
ready to
guys.
go. But your Yankee shirt, man, you were my guy. Now I'm a little nervous.
Just had to do it. Sorry, Howard.
I'm teasing you. Hey, listen, they got to win one every 20 years, right?
It's been a long grind.
That's a lot of talk out of a Red Sox fan there.
That's why.
Greenberg.
Listen, we own the 2000s.
Oh,
On
boy.
that note, I'm going to leave. Good luck in the World
Good luck.
Series.
Good luck, Steve. Thanks. Have a good weekend. Good morning, Howard.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
Doing good. Doing good. Another beautiful day here. And markets, is just watching you guys with Tesla there. I couldn't help thinking it's exactly symptomatic of these exact market conditions today. Everything is trading with extremes in mind.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean that is the term of the day, extremes. Yesterday I did call Tesla to keep going up, but I called for it to go to 250, 280 here. In a matter of seconds. It's just unbelievable some of the rips we're seeing here. We always say you take the stairs up and the elevator down. Elon would like to argue that point a little bit. You can take it both ways.
Yeah, and this comes with today, as we've been discussing on and off, the electronification of the marketplace.
Yeah.
General ideas and themes are populated, and we're beginning to see these trades as herd mentalities. And the herd has always been actually short of Tesla. You saw the sharp move down. Then all of a sudden the earnings come out. Robo-taxi was a failure.
Yeah.
And then the earnings come out, and it's so symptomatic. The same thing we highlighted in the dollar index when it was down at 100.
Yeah.
The same sort. Everybody's in on the trade. And when these things turn, they just turn with such a vengeance.
They do. They do. The extremes, like you said, have just been, unbelievable on some of this. And, speaking of like craziness, did I see the Russian central bank has just raised interest rates to 21%? I'm feeling
Yeah.
real good about my mortgage right now. I bought
Yeah.
a house last year, built a house, and I thought I was in a bad spot. I'm feeling pretty good today.
Yeah. This is 21%, the highest since 2003. A full 2% increase today from 19%,
Yeah.
which is on the heels of its most recent hike of 1%. So 21%, they're looking to really nail the inflation. The last figure came out at 9.8% in September, and that's jumping from 7.5% in August. So, they're really, really concerned. The dollar versus the ruble trading around 96.80, just to give some sort of high. This is the highs. If you go back to the Ukraine invasion, it traded up to 120 as the bite of embargo of trade sanctions were put on. But Not a good situation here, definitely, especially given a war that they're trying to fund, trade restrictions. So, this isn't so much a sense of higher interest rate is kind of can be looked at as a good thing. It's kind of like, hit the exit door right now.
Yeah, without a doubt, and it brings more focus too on BRICS upcoming, right?
Which
And
is
I know
going on
Steve
right
wanted
now.
me to
Yeah.
ask you too. He's now concerned about this ramp up between Iran and the U.S. That brings BRICS into this now. Does this become a NATO BRICS battle? Do we, or, why I forget who the analyst I saw came out, global strategist yesterday and said World War III has already started. We just don't know it yet. It wasn't very reassuring there.
You, you know, let's just highlight this as the undercurrent of geopolitics is definitely much higher each and every Friday as we approach a 2-day weekend
Yeah,
of possible events in the world, whether you're talking the China Straits, the Middle East, or Russia, Ukraine. There is enough, and we've highlighted that the market's pricing is generally appears to be ignoring the potential, especially when you see these extreme moves that we're seeing in Bitcoin and gold, in the dollar index,
yeah.
and even in a Tesla. Um, you know, so it appears geopolitics is strong. Whether we're on a World War III, I don't think so. Am I worried about a NATO BRICS? No, not at all, because the BRIC nations are not united in that
Right.
sense. They
They can't even
still are
decide
trying,
who's meeting whom, where, and when.
and exactly. So I don't see that as a concern. But geopolitics, price of oil is a major concern as you hit a weekend here.
Right. Yeah. Switching topics here a little bit on you, and I didn't bring this up to you earlier, but banks. Have you been surprised by these earnings reports? We talked going into it what to expect, and it seems that even I don't want to call it the lower rung, but the companies that were the most expected to have maybe the cracks in the foundations, the people who had a lot of credit cards, and I'm looking at Capital One today. Good earnings, moving up. So maybe it isn't as bad as I thought. Have you been looking at these? What are you seeing in these banks' earnings?
Absolutely, and we had talked about some. I had thought that they would underperform in all these reports, but again, you got to keep back that this is a look back window. We're
Right.
looking back at a period of time where everybody was thinking rosy, rosy. Now you've got an election ahead of you, geopolitical risk rising. So this, I would think that the best performance days in the banking sector is behind us. However, when you get durable goods and all these numbers still coming out and showing, a fairly strong and resilient economy with the labor market still doing fine, um, hey, maybe we're wrong. And
So
maybe
does
things are, looking pretty good.
so with that being said, does that mean 4.2 is the new norm? Is that the new neutral right here on the 10-year?
I think it's very toppish at 4.2, and I honestly think that 3.84 is probably the range of where we'll see the 10-year. However, given the fact that we do have some growth here, I think, and the Fed kind of easing back on a 0.5%, in fact, maybe even no move. 4 to 4.2 is probably, but 4.2 is that's a substantial move. I don't really think that it's justified trading much higher than that. I think the move up to the present levels and higher has been more of a global concern. This
Okay.
is going to be something we talk about often, and
Yeah.
that is the market's perception of global debt. It's beginning to have consequences. And, I think the US election and what we do about the deficit is going to be a key theme as we move forward.
I agree. I guess my question or my thing that I'm wondering right now personally is Does the US just not care? I always make the joke Bitcoin doesn't care when it comes to politics and certain things. Does the stock market really not care because in the US we are doing well and they're not looking as much globally? And is that, something to keep an eye on that, because what I'm hearing from global strategists and people like yourself that have a more macro view is, hey, the world isn't a rosy place, overall. There are some issues that we got to work through in different huge countries, China, Russia, all of the Euro nations right now. But again, we see this euphoria in the stock market. Can that euphoria go on, or is that where you see maybe this rug pull that some have warned of, and we've been warning of here on Quasar Markets, that there could be a 10-20% downturn here? This is what worries me on a day like today when everything's moving up. Is there a reason that today was better than the last 2 days outside of Tesla just taking off? And to me, there isn't. So I'd have to ask you your feeling.
My opinion on this is that, it's a risky time. If we have growth, then the market can continue the pace that it's on. And that is the key that you must be able to grow yourself out of the debt problem.
Right.
Now, that said, look at what's going on in the world. Massive stimulus in China. Interest rates are coming down almost everywhere, except Russia, but interest rates, Europe, England and the US are up next on November 7th.
Yeah.
I expect both of them to cut rates. Then throw in the fact that suddenly we're seeing the money supply figure jumping up. What's that all about? So, yes, you're absolutely right. It is a major concern. 10 to 20% correction is clearly in the environment right now. And I think you're already seeing the liquidity surge coming back in to address what you and I and other people, senior with market experience, are beginning to worry about. But you're seeing the response of a liquidity add already back in the marketplace.
Yeah, and that's what you're seeing. You're seeing money go into all markets because it's not coming out. In other words, Bitcoin isn't dropping, gold isn't dropping, oil isn't dropping. I didn't look too much at commodities today, but overall, they didn't seem to be moving in the wrong direction. No, they're all up. So again, that's where I start to, that's what starts to get me worried is that they're there. I got to ask, Steve thinks that, bonds got it wrong and that they're selling off bonds left and right. Are you seeing any of that in the people you're talking to or in the markets you're watching?
I don't necessarily. I think it's a general concern. I think that, if I was sitting with a early 2000 position in bonds, I would definitely be looking at the situation, and I would term it fiscal irresponsibility. I would be lightening up in my bond positions. Sure, I'd be
Yes.
selling as well. Steve's going to hit the nail right on the head. It is the big issue, but it's not a timely issue today.
Right.
But you are seeing the little warning shocks like this move up in global rates at a time when inflation is coming down is one of those, wow, what was that all about?
So if someone's looking for a flight to some safety here, would you be buying duration maybe right now? Well, it is 4.2% on the Treasury. If you
I
could
think
find some.
I think you have to. I think that's probably a good bet. Dollar is also a good bet right now, as it is appearing that the dollar has moved back into a safe haven play.
Right.
And of course, gold and silver are clearly showing that, as well as your favorite Bitcoin.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, because that was what I was wondering. Is I call it the mother-in-law factor. My mother-in-law came to me about a month ago, and she said, my CDs had just matured, and I'm trying to decide what to do. But I'm seeing all these things on CNBC and everywhere telling me that I'm too late, and I needed to get out of that, and all this. And I advised her at that point to buy some duration. I should still be telling her the same. That's what I was wondering. I call it the mother-in-law factor. So that will keep me in good graces with the family then, because that has been my advice at this point, is to get it while you can. Because again, if you can get a 5% return on some of this stuff right now, I don't call it free money, but it's I'll take risk free 5%, with especially with what a lot of us are seeing as cracks in the fissures here. Um,
That's right. And if you really want to get out there, maybe look at Mexico with rates where they are.
yeah,
You can get over 10%. 10.5% is their prevailing rate after their recent cut of 0.25%. But then again, you enter in the currency risk, and that's
right.
the dual thing. When you seek external outside of the U.S. for a U.S. domicile, if you seek outside for a higher interest rate, you then have to manage your currency risk, which is what all the big players in the marketplace do.
Yeah, yep, that is definitely it. And it's also about what I think we'll spend some time over the next few months here talking with our people is how do you start to play this? How do you start to look at things if you want to get into it? I know I started up an account here on Tradeovate, which does the futures and FX and everything, so that I could ask you some questions and start to dabble a little bit at looking at some of these other hedges because you just brought out a good point. One of the reasons Steve started Quasar Markets and that I joined Quasar Markets is we want to be able to teach the retail investor the same tricks and tools that are in the toolbox of the professional traders. And I think one of those really is I've been watching and noticing, and I think what it is it is first allaying fears. And what I've been doing, as you know, has been asking you a lot of times about these figures on some of these levels of DXY or the euro and USD to watch them to see how their technical analysis flows, if it's any different than stocks and options or anything else that I've covered like crypto. And I am seeing that it does. It follows a lot of the same rules. Resistance is resistance, price action is price action, momentum is momentum, and moving averages matter. So I think that's sort of the takeaway that I've gotten out of being able to spend some time with you. So I do look forward to trying to bring that to some of our traders here because I do think it's an important part. I think, and especially if you are still going to stay long in the U.S. stock market, to have some other opportunities and some other investments, in there. And it comes from my background in Bitcoin, where I always say, yeah, even if you aren't a Bitcoin fan, you should probably have 1 or 2% of your holdings in there if you're a big investor, the same way that you would have gold, silver, copper, or other metals. I think that currencies are very underlooked, and I'm looking to try to bring that a little bit more to our folks here at Quasar Markets.
Yeah, Howard, and I don't disagree with you. I just have, and perhaps I'm an old timer and I have a little bit of problem with the crypto space because of the store of value. I could easily go into currencies, and I have central banks that are backing the currency, lenders of last resort. And, okay, in my small investing, it doesn't make much of a difference. But to a larger portfolio manager, that does have a significant factor. And a 1 to 2%, as you indicate, is certainly a smaller percent of your portfolio. And that is, perhaps being more reflective of the times that we are in. In some form or manner, the crypto space will begin to migrate into, and we've already seen in the currency markets, going from 2 day settlement to 1 day settlement.
Right. Oh
So
yeah.
already there is a general move in the crypto space where immediate settlement and an exchange of funds, and that probably is very reflective of where the markets in general need to go. So um, right now it's a tough time. I would highlight to your viewers, you have an election in Japan. We have the
Absolutely.
Japanese central bank meeting next week. I do not expect them to move interest rates higher, but at a 152, 151 level, dollar versus yen, with the Japanese making comments in the last 24, 48 hours about the move up of the weakening of the yen, you could see some appreciation where dollar yen begins to trade back down into the mid 140s again, 145. What would be the effect? I would think it would correspond with a topping out in the US market. That
Right.
would just be my macro of how I use currencies to give me some sort of insights into other markets.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be, and that's what we're looking for is when is the frothiness going to blow off here? When do we see that retracement? Because I think most are sort of expecting it across. You just brought up Japan is up next, and then the U.S. Any other currencies we should be watching here over the next week or so?
Well, those are going to be the big ones, of course, with the Bank of England the same day as the Fed. I'm watching sterling very carefully. Right now, my immediate focus is on the dollar yen. I kind of think the top side is very limited here. The 153, 155 zone is very topish in dollar yen. Again, the Japanese like to control this
Right.
currency. So it does have a lot more of a controlling than other currencies. But the sterling is one I'm watching. I think that their inflation has dropped. I think 1.7% was the last release. It's under the 2% guideline Bank of England uses. Their economy is only growing 0.2, zero point 0.4. I'm looking for a 0.5% cut out of them on the December 7th. So there could be a lot to play in the sterling dollar, as that's one of the top traded currencies in a $7.5 trillion a day market.
Yeah. Do you see that moving back up towards that 207 high that we saw in mid-July, or do you see it pulling back down?
No, I think that you're looking at a situation in sterling where I want to look at the downside. I still view the dollar, the Dixie, the DXY, as a buy. We're trading at around the 104 level right now.
Yep.
It's come off of we hit 104.57. I missed it by 7 points. I thought
We'll
104.50 would
keep you
be
around for another week, I guess.
it. But I do see us trading down 103, 70, 104 the figure as a base before the next surge up in the dollar could potentially happen. However, let's put the pin in the map. We have a
Yeah.
U.S. election next week. We are literally sitting on the precipice of a U.S. election. Anybody who traded in the markets in 2016
Right.
knows the explosiveness of an election result.
Absolutely. We've had a lot of the different folks that we have as contributors here at Quasar Market that work with, options and covered calls and selling, cash puts and things like that, that made it very clear. Just like earnings reports, you want to avoid this election. You might want to skip a cycle, if you're worried about your stock being pulled away or something else on an exercise, that's going to be so much there. You can really see, I'm looking at this, the British pound. Oh, I have it to the Japanese. That's why it's looking so weird to me and why my number's not matching up. There we
Yep,
go.
they.
Now it makes a lot more because I was about to say, really, Steve? Because I'm seeing this. But now I
Yep,
actually see that downward trend line on the top here working directly with what you're saying here. You can see that. Wow. That's the
yep.
monthly chart. You can see the way that has pulled back. Um, Here, yeah, last time you pointed out when it broke, looking for support and it broke below that support at that
That's right.
130 that you were talking about. That
And
makes
we
a lot
look
more
for
sense. I had really confused myself there, Steven. I guess I'm not ready yet to trade currency since I can't even pull up the right pair.
that's right. We're
That
gonna
would be is that step one that you teach the first when they walk
we
in
are
the
going
door?
we are going to keep you on paper trading only.
An actual paper. You can't even use a computer.
That's right.
Yeah, now this makes a lot more sense to what
But
you're saying
you're
here.
looking at sterling right here, so a retest potentially back into that 130 zone is
Right.
always possible. In currency trading, when you begin to get breaks, you tend to revisit the level. In fact, in many markets,
Yeah,
you
mean reversion.
revisit the break point. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I don't really have much more for you today, Steven. We're going into the weekend here. Just trying to stay above. Steve hit another home run. I had a little one. Unfortunately, mine, I did the right thing. It got stopped a second time, and then I put a stop loss in place to protect my profit. It did hit that, and now it has, of course, moon rocketed since then. So my NO holdings here, I got in at $4. Oh, actually came back down to life, so I'm happy now. I got in at 425, got out at 440. on a stop loss, but it had shot up to over 5 here. So we are still hitting them a little bit here, but mine would be more of a single or a double today. Good luck to your Yankees. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud, but at least I got to root for the AL East, right?
Well, it should be exciting, East Coast, West Coast. So I
It,
didn't
it,
get my
it is
Subway
fun.
Series.
That is fun. I hope it brings a big crowd.
Yeah,
Baseball has lost a little of the luster when it comes to the NFL and NBA in some sorts. So I do hope that this starts to get people back into it because there's nothing better than October baseball.
well, and that's right. And the two top teams are going to slug it out, which is, a testament to both of them. And the fan bases, it should be exciting games. You've got stars on both sides of the team.
Absolutely.
In things like this, I take my heart out and I say, hey, I just hope it goes 7 games because there is nothing more thrilling than being at a seventh game if you can.
Absolutely. There is nothing better than Game 7. And there's really nothing better than the World Series. I think it has, one of the best things. You're going to get like you said, you're going to have the LA versus New York. You have Shitani, out there, and you've got Aaron Judge, the two best players in baseball, ready to go at each other.
Yep, that's right. And watch out for Juan Soto.
You don't have to tell me as a DC guy. We
Yeah, there
still
you go.
reject that one. You think they're gonna re-sign him? You guys gonna put up the $500 million for him?
Wow, at least a half, right?
Yeah, he's definitely proven his worth, hasn't he? Some of these
Sure
guys
has.
that bet on themselves, it works out. The amount of money it's just incredible, even as Boston Reds, and Yankees guys who've always had huge payrolls. When you see the
Yep,
numbers now, I remember the first $100 million guy. Never mind now, you're talking about you might get the first $1 billion contract.
yep, that's right.
Well, you have a great weekend, and we will see you bright and early on Monday.
Very good, Howard. Enjoy the weekend.
You
Thanks.
too.